Okay, so I'm Gilbert Starcher. That's Gilbert Starcher. I'm from Glen Gardner. I grew up in Glen Gardner. So while I was growing up at St. Anne in Hampton, I noticed that there was an attraction that I had to the priesthood. Just watching the priest, seeing how he worked with the parishioners who were there, his interaction with them, also his living the priesthood and living the life of a priest. I found that very attractive growing up, and I wanted to be like that. So he was a role model for me. And so I started to serve Mass at the parish. That was my first step that I took. At the age of 9, I think it was 9 years old, I started to serve Mass pretty regularly, like every day. For a few years there, I served Mass because we would go to Mass daily as a family growing up. And so I have 4 sisters and 2 brothers, and we grew up and we were a homeschooling family, so we were able to go to Mass every day. And so I would say that was a big key to my vocational story, was the family. Prayer every day as family, praying the Rosary, Chaplet of Divine Mercy, other devotions, and then going to Mass every day. And so Mass was a big part of that, and then also the family Holy Hour. So that's where I would say I heard the voice of Jesus most strongly in my life, in the silence of Holy Hour of Adoration. So we would have a Holy Hour of Adoration on Friday evenings. And once a month, that would be a Holy Hour for vocations. And so we pray for vocations. And one thing that I remember that's a very kind of strong impetus to become a priest in our diocese was once a year we would have a Holy Hour for vocations, where the vocation director would come and bring a seminarian with him. And that was exciting to see a seminarian, hear his vocation story, hear the vocation director's vocation story in the context of that Holy Hour for vocations. And you would leave some literature behind. Also, in my family, there was some, my sisters and brothers also discerning vocations to the religious life. My sister is very interested in religious life from an early age. And while she ended up discerning marriage, it was an atmosphere of discernment in the house. So that was a very fruitful time. I think she wrote over 100 religious communities. So there was always this atmosphere of the need to discern what is God's will for us. And my mother and father always made it very clear that whatever path we chose, whether it was to marriage or to religious vocation, that it needed to come from the Lord, and whatever way it went, they were totally supportive of it, no matter what happened. And so growing up, I've always had their support. I've always had the support of my brothers and sisters in doing this. That's not always something that everyone gets. So I consider myself to be very lucky in that regard, to be from a family that supported this along the way. I went to Ave Maria University after high school. And there I was in charge of the altar servers, and that was a responsibility that helped me also to discern a bit more. I just enjoy being in church. I enjoy being around the church, working with them to help them work in the liturgy. So that was a great thing. I also was the Grand Knight of their Knights of Columbus Council while I was there, and doing works of service. That was really my first taste of doing some works of service, and that was exciting, and it helped me also to discern a bit more. I came to the diocese after the end of college, and Monsignor Vashon at the time was vocation director and helped me to understand what is it that a priest does and who is he, and that helped me to see myself in that role. And so with his guidance, I entered the seminary at the end of 2015. and continued to discern even in the seminary. So I guess the first year in seminary, I was entered in pre-theology 2, and that class would go to the St. Joseph Home for the Elderly, run by the Little Sisters of the Poor in Totowa. And that was a place where I experienced kind of the Lord at work in my life, because I could see, in the eyes of the people who are there, just kind of this a life well lived, and kind of the fullness that comes from a life well lived, and I desired to live a life like that. That was well lived. And for me, growing up, I always felt the desire to become a priest, but like I said, it was more of an attraction. So all along this way, it's been maturing. And so I say a moment where it really matured a lot was in college, and then again, kind of in the seminary, continued to mature. Stay with it. Sometimes the seminary can become a difficult place with all the academics and things. It's hard to stay completely focused all the time on the goal, on the Lord's call. And it can become discouraging at times. And so we need to, stay in prayer and all these things. But so they helped me to do that. They encouraged me to continue growing in holiness. Then another important piece of my vocation story came in the parish. So I went to St. Magdalene in Flemington as my first assignment out of the seminary. And I met many different kinds of groups and communities of people that are there who live their faith together so beautifully and in a very intentional way. And I was very impressed by that. And there's a Filipino-American community there, and they kind of took me under their wing, and I really was very moved by that. Just have so much love for their priest, but also for someone who's thinking about becoming a priest. They're very, very encouraging, and that encouragement helped me also to continue. I found that to be, it was a motivating factor. Then I went after that to the next thing that really moved me was the assignment to St. Joseph Hospital in Patterson. And while I was in St. Joseph Hospital in Patterson, I would say that was a place where I experienced the presence of the Lord in a real way. I had a little bit of that experience in St. Magdalene de Pazzi in Flemington, because there's a 100 medical center close by, so I got to work there once a week. But in the second year of seminary, in Theology 2, we were in St. Joseph Hospital. We get to see all moments of life. And in these moments, I understood one thing about myself, that if I lived my whole life and would do it over again, I would become a priest, I think, because I felt the Lord calling me in those moments. I felt almost as if, especially when bringing Holy Communion to people, that the Lord was with us and standing in the room there too. And I always enjoyed to bring Holy Communion to people, but always felt that. The Lord in the Gospels cares so much for the people, especially the poor people and the sick people. And we had many of both of those groups there. But some people are so very sick, and kind of that's a moment of faith for them. And that probably fed me more than whatever I was able to bring, in terms of words. But I was happy to bring the Eucharist to them, because that fills all the desires of our hearts. But so anyway, in being an instrument of God in those circumstances, I really felt deeply called to the priesthood. One regret that I had while there was that in that hospital, maybe half of the patients speak Spanish, and I wasn't able to communicate with them effectively. I was able to pray some basic prayers. And happily, the bishop, of course, sent me to Bolivia that summer, and I was there for 6 weeks, and I learned Spanish, or started working on it at least. And I've been working on it ever since. A lot of study in addition to my other activities that I do, and that's been a huge sense of call found there as well for me. I have been in 2 parishes with Spanish-speaking communities. One was Our Lady of Mount Carmel in New Brunswick, and the other one is where I am now. Or actually, there's another one after that, which was Our Lady of Perpetual Help in Bernardsville. And then where I am now also has a Spanish-speaking community in Hackettstown, Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary. And working with these people, a lot of times very, very poor, but not always. It's been a great kind of time of grace for me to be able to also reach out to them too. Sometimes there's just so many negative connotations about them, and sometimes there's so much struggles that they have. And so for me, it's been a great thing to do that. I feel the Lord working with me as I prepare for the priesthood in that way. I've been able to give some homilies recently in Spanish. I was always terrible in languages. I studied so many languages in high school, and then in college I studied some more, and even in the seminary I studied another one. And I just failed at all of them. And so I thought, well, surely I'll fail at Spanish, and then when the bishop decided to send me in. But it's been amazing. I've been able to pick it up. And I see that as the work of God in my life, because the Lord gives us the gifts. We have to trust that He'll give us the gifts. And I see that He's giving me a gift that I didn't have. I really didn't think I would have it. So it's been amazing in that respect. So that's where I am now. I'm a deacon now, and it's been beautiful to live the diaconate. Really, it can be very moving. The deacon is able to baptize, so I've baptized children, brought them into the church. That's a beautiful moment, to pour the water over the head of a little baby, say their name. I baptize you in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Now you know that the child is a Catholic because the Lord working through you. And so the Lord has been good to me in this respect. Praying with my brother seminarians has been a great, great thing for me. I feel motivated when I see them working together for this same goal. I feel that there's going to be a lot of good friends to work together with in the vineyard of the Lord in the future. But it all comes down to the work of the Lord in our life. And I've experienced His work in my life so far. I'm 27 years old. I'm looking forward to experiencing more of the Lord's work in my life, because, as we've heard others say so many times, God is a God of surprises. And He surprises me all the time with His love and care for me. And so this has been a journey of love and care. And so we'll experience some more of that on the 22nd of August when I become a priest. I won't be able to, understand, I think it'll be kind of, it'll be an emotional experience, a little bit overwhelming. Be overwhelmed with the love of God for me, but it's also love for His people too. We can't forget His people. I'm going to be instrument of His love for them. It's not for me alone, it's for